Yes, we're ready.
Do you guys turn these on?
I don't know if
We're on.
David's told you or
Yep.
not. We're going to work it.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Franklin Community School Corporation trustee meeting for March 10th. We would like to begin with a prayer.
Loving God, as we begin this meeting, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. Help us to work together in harmony and purpose. Grant us clarity of thought and unity of mind so our decisions may reflect your will and contribute to the greater good of our schools and community. Please bless our discussions and decisions with your grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, we have individual student growth recognition by...
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is super exciting. And we welcome all of you to stay for the entire hour and a half, couple hours. You're all welcome. We should have had popcorn or something, maybe. All right, so we have a number of people to celebrate, which is super exciting. Look around this gym. This is what we like to see. In every meeting, we start by focusing on our 5 guiding principles, and there are 2 we tend to highlight at meetings. And the first is always individual student growth, and the second is sometimes collaboration. All of you are here to celebrate your successes in individual student growth. So let's begin with Central 9 Students of the Month. We have 2 from the month of March. So congratulations to our March Central 9 Students of the Month. Is Ella Hurley here from Biomedical Sciences? And Catherine Bowser from Work-Based Learning. Are either one of them here? If you see Ella, or Catherine, congratulate them. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. I know Luke is here, so Luke, come on down. Congratulations to Luke Bromley on being named a National Merit Scholarship finalist. He's awesome, right? Thank you. Congratulations. He is one of 15,000 students across the country to be selected. More information on a potential scholarship offering will be announced later this spring. Okay, another round of applause for Luke Bromley.
So now's the talk show time. I get to ask you questions, you get to answer some questions, you get to introduce mom and dad. It's going to be great. The first question is, where are you planning to go to school next year?
At the moment, I still don't know. I'm waiting on some decisions to come back, but right now it's looking possibly to be IU, maybe University of Virginia.
And now we know why you got national merit. That's awesome. The other thing is, talk about how did you get national merit? What are some things that you have to do in school, but then also what tests did you take to signify that you could be in this running for National Merit Scholar?
Yeah, so the initial stage of the competition is based off of the PSAT, which is basically a practice test for the SAT. But after that, if you get a high score, you go into the semifinalist round. After that, there's a whole application process. You have to talk about your extracurriculars in high school and write a few essays. And following that, you get selected as a finalist.
And we know behind every outstanding student is a group of parents or people that are here supporting you. Would you please introduce your parents?
Yep, I'm here with my mom, Jamie Bromley, and my dad, Bob Bromley. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now we're going to get a picture. Oh. And don't, I forgot the most important thing.
The pencil.
Oh, of course.
The reason you work so hard in school. Not to eliminate things I'm sharp, pencil.
Just for me, thank
Just
you.
for you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Luke. And Now, a number of you will be coming forward because we did an outstanding job at the Science Bowl this year at the state competition. We are thrilled to recognize and celebrate the outstanding achievements of our Science Bowl state final winners. Creekside Elementary finished third. If the coach or coaches of the team and the students would please come forward.
And principal.
And principal for Creekside.
Yeah, that's fine. Here you go, line up on the blue line right here. We're going to turn over to Mrs. Dunn, and she's going to talk a little bit about how did you win this competition and place third in the state, and then we'll let you introduce the teammates, and then they can introduce their parents.
I told them they were going to have to talk, so I'm going to make them do that part. Every year, Science Bowl is a rotating topic. This year, the focus was on chemistry. So I know the other coaches will say the same thing, but this was really hard, one of the harder ones that we've had to study since I've been coaching. So I'm really proud of this group. They came in 3 months, once a week after school, and I even had to reteach myself some high school chemistry before I could help them. So I'm so proud of them for working so hard and doing such a great job. So I'm going to pass this down. Tell everybody your name.
Hi, my name is Swok Patel, and I'm here with my cousin, my sister, my dad, and my mom. My name is Fergusek, and I'm here with my mom and my dad. My name is Abby Fikes. I'm here with my brother and my mom and my dad. Hello, I'm Liam Moise. I'm here with my mom and dad. I'm Summer Lane, and I'm here with my brother and my mom.
I'm Maxwell Wills, and I'm here with my mom and my grandma.
Congratulations, everyone. Nice work. Another round of applause and paparazzi time, Robin. Excellent work. We also have with us Needham Elementary, who also placed in the top 10. So if Needham Elementary students, if coaches are with us, Mr. Purley, if you would please come down.
As Needham wanders down to the middle of the floor, I'd like to highlight that Luke, who we just mentioned as a national merit, participates at the high school level for academic Super Bowl and academic competitions. So as you think about as an elementary student what we're doing here, you can continue this journey all the way to state competition at the high school, and we do quite well up there as well.
Well, my name is Kim Barnett. I'm one of the coaches for Needham. Like was already said, this was a little bit challenging. These guys practiced once a week. Probably what helped them the most was they have the nickname of Team Skittles because it took Skittles to motivate these guys. They like to build molecules and structures out of Skittles to learn everything. But it was a lot of fun and they did a great job. Rebecca McCain, I help coach.
My name is Hannah Kopp, and I'm here with my dad, my mom, my grandpa, and my brother.
My name is Carter, and I brought my mom, my dad, my Nana, and Jama.
name is Philip, and I brought my mom and dad.
Excellent work. Another round of applause for our Needham Bulldog team in the State Science Bowl. And with us tonight for the State Science Bowl as well, we have Northwood Elementary. So if you are a student or a coach or a principal at Northwood Elementary, please come forward. Let's give them a round of applause.
I'm Kathy Thomas, and this was my first year as a Science Bowl coach, so it was nice to hear the other coaches say that this was a hard year. I would like to thank my mom, who was my high school chemistry teacher, and luckily we had a parent who is also a chemistry professor who was a help too. So it was a lot of fun. Probably a highlight for us was the day we got to make ice cream. It was a good experiment. So, Braden, you want to go first?
My name is Brayden. I'm here with my mom, my dad, and my two friends.
My name is Jack, and I'm here with my dad, my mom, and my sister.
My name is Connor, known as Coconut, and I'm here with my mom, my dad, and my stepdad. My name is Isaac, and I'm here with my mom and dad. My name is Ethan, and I'm here with my mom, dad, and my sister. My name's Maxine, and I'm here with my dad. My name is Bella, and I'm here with my dad and my mom, my sister.
Okay, picture time, and let's give them one more round of applause. Great job, Northwoods Science Bowl. Franklin Community Middle School is next on the list. I love how we're hitting all these different levels and buildings. We had 3 middle school students compete in the Student Television Network Nationals. Anna, Emberly, and McKenna, please come forward if you're with us. They presented on Visiting Santa at the Johnson County Museum of History and placed second. This is the first time Franklin Community Middle School has ever placed at this competition. Congratulations to the team and the coach.
No, we're really proud of these girls. The Student Television Network is a national organization that judges storytelling, journalistic storytelling. We have entered a lot of contests over the last couple years in our journalism program, and as it's grown, we've been so lucky to have some incredible students that have taken home a lot of awards. But this particular organization that we enter work into is the toughest one, in my opinion. Not only are they judged on journalistic storytelling and interviews and things like that, but also the quality of their filming and the lighting and the sound and the editing, and areas that we have been really working hard on the last couple years. And in 3 years of entering work into these contests, we've never taken home an award until these 3 right here. And so it was a really big deal to see not only their skills grow, but then be able to be recognized at the national level with this organization for the very first time. And so we're super proud of them.
And now I get to ask you guys a few questions. You turn this way and talk to me for a second. So first, who talked to Santa? Which one? Nobody? What was your story about? All of you got to talk to Santa Claus? Any good highlights or secrets about Santa?
I think it's been a while since
Okay. Well, talk a little bit about how did you come up with the storyline? Why did you choose the museum, and why did you choose that story?
The museum, they make money by how many people come in, and it's like a community event that they have during Christmas time. So we thought it would be a good idea to like focus the spotlight on like a small part that's going on in our town that a lot of people can get involved in.
And when you guys, did you have to write the script first before you presented it, or did you just start talking?
You kind of have to go find somebody to interview, and you just kind of have to think up questions on the spot because you never know what part they play. So it's just on the spot moment, and then you record it.
You know, I kind of like that idea, just on the spot talking, don't you? Yeah. And the last question for you is, what elementary school did you go to, and what are your future plans in high school?
I went to Northwood, and my future plans in high school are just to keep on going and trying to get good grades and get to a college one day, hopefully.
All right. Well, congratulations. Great job. And now we're going to get a picture.
Congratulations to all of our students. Congratulations to our families, parents, all of you in this room. I know it takes everyone working together. Principals, teachers, coaches, everyone. So give yourselves a round of applause, and if you do not want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you may exit. Oh, wait, sit down. I skipped one. Forgive me, please. Sorry, thank you. Let's see, Riley, come on up. The Franklin Community Bowling Team had a successful season. Riley, I apologize. Riley Hood's impressive score of 631 awarded him a regional champ and a spot at the SEMA State where he finished in 5th place. Riley proceeded to the state finals and finished 24th in the state. Please join me in giving Riley a round of applause.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long journey for that because we had to go through sectionals. So they took the top 11, which I averaged 185 to get into that, and then went on to regionals, which I won with a 210 average. And then the guy before me bowled a 300, a perfect game, so he struck out every single frame. And then I went on to beat him by 6 pins after that. And then semi-state, we went all the way up to Terre Haute. That was a pretty long drive to get up there, and to very interesting lanes there. But then I placed 5th there, and then state was sponsored by Storm, a really big bowling brand, and so it was like super big. And if you did end up getting to the top 4, which I unfortunately didn't make, you'd get to be on TV and stuff. But yeah, it was super fun.
Well, since you didn't get to be on TV, we brought you here to school board meeting.
Close enough, I'll take it.
Well, congratulations. That's
Awesome.
great.
I'll give this back.
Yep, and we're going to take one picture. Unfortunately, Mr. House couldn't be here tonight, so.
Now, congratulations, Riley, and all of the students who were recognized. Now you may exit if you so choose.
Good job.
Yeah. I cannot believe anybody wanting to stay.
We even have a show and tell.
It is nice outside.
It is nice outside.
Oh, now we've got
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any public comments on any consent agenda item? If so, they're limited to 3 minutes. Nope. Does the board have any comments on the consent agenda items?
Vice President Gill, I do have a couple for the board, just information. On E, the Central 9 operating agreement. This is an amendment to the existing agreement, and that states that high school students from non-participating school corporations may attend classes at Central 9, provided overcrowded conditions will not result. And this goes on to provide guidelines to that. President Nelson, who sits on the board for Central 9, was able to vote on this, and Central 9 is asking us to vote to approve this amendment, and then it will go back to them and insert it into the agreement for the operating. Additionally, we do have on I, the JCPL board reappointment, and with us tonight, we have Mrs. Eaker, who is the Franklin Community Schools, one of 2 representatives to the board, and Lisa is also here. We want to thank you for being here tonight, but we're asking for a reappointment for Mrs. Eaker to sit on the Johnson County Public Library Board for the Franklin Schools.
Is there a motion?
I also would like to offer a few notes on the increase in cybersecurity insurance. Our insurance agent recommends that we go from $1 million in coverage to $3 million. As you probably know, the cyber hacking and issues in this area have been increasing lately, so they're recommending we reduce our risk by increasing our maximum coverage. For school districts, the insurance companies typically recommend a 90 to 95% loss scenario. Right now, we're at 79%, and the increase to $3 million will bring us up to 91%. So that reduces our risk of having to take, our operating funds or rainy day to cover ransom and some of the cost to bring our systems back up and recover from an incident like that. This increase in coverage will cost an additional $16,682 annually. Our increase in premiums was about 3.5% this year, which isn't bad for where we are with cyber.
Oh, I have one more. This is really for everyone's information. As you all know, we've partnered with Schmidt and Associates to be our architectural company for our projects. And Mr. Young had a question for me. I think it'd be good to clarify for all, and I verify with Mr. Young. You'll see letter of agreements on the different projects that we have, and this is just an awareness for the board to engage Schmidt, which we've already approved the AIA agreement with them in previous months, and this just specifically details each of them. So for example, in letter J, Franklin Community Middle School is getting a new boiler system, and this just identifies that. So people want to know, like, is there another contract behind this? And the answer is yes. So you'll just see the letters and the dollar amount for that specific project as it comes through for everyone. Ms. Gross, also on the PAC, I think you guys had an amendment to the PAC agreement?
Well, it was also kind of a sub-agreement for the design work being done with the athletic fields and the Performing Arts Center. That hadn't been previously approved.
And on L, we are amending the contract for the performing arts.
Oh, yes. We are adding a cancellation policy to the Performing Arts Agreement that we use for rentals. It hasn't been a problem in the past, but just recently we had a client cancel kind of at the last minute Luckily, we were able to rebook, but it kind of surfaced that we needed to add that language, so we're not left hanging with lost revenue from that activity.
And the last thing I'd like to highlight, we have two people that are leaving us at the end of the year. Eva Alvey is a special education teacher who's resigning. And then we want to also highlight Gina Swanigan Frazier, who was with Earlywood and then joined us this year, and she is retiring as a speech pathologist. So we want to thank both of them for their years of service. And you'll also note that Becky Skeel is on there. Becky is a longtime teacher at CBIS, and she's resigning because she's not quite eligible to retire, but she is retiring, and we want to just thank her for her years of service as well.
And just to confirm, the minutes from last meeting did get with my few.
Yes, so
Okay.
we did have a correction on the minutes. David was unfortunately left off on it showed on the votes, as well as highlighting that the partisan board election is just still being considered at the General Assembly level.
Thank you.
Vice President Gill, that's all I have on
Is
consent
there
agenda.
a motion to approve the
I'll make the motion.
consent agenda?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Superintendent reports.
Tonight, we're pleased to have Kevin Shelley from Schmidt and Associates come forward, and he's going to talk a little bit about the Franklin Cub Academy, where we are in the process, and highlight the bid structure that we just went through last week.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Clendening and school board members. I'm here really this evening to report and to ask for a approval of the bids that were received last Tuesday for the new preschool building, the Cub Academy Preschool. There were 3 bids received on that date, and they were, the low bid at that time was Ferguson Construction. We've been working the last week then with them, working through the specifics of their bid, making sure they had all the scope identified, and all that's been going very well. So we're ready to make a recommendation tonight to move forward in a contract with them. Their low bid was $18,672,200. That, and just to give you a sense of where we think, how we're pleased with the way the bids were, between the high and the low bid, there was only a 4% range, which gives an indication that the contractors understood what the bids were. We had good competitive bids, and the low bid was 8.5% under what we estimated the bids to be. So all that's good news when it comes to the district and what we're able to get done here for the new preschool. I guess you can all see it in front of you, but for the audience, there's the image there on the screen. You can see the new location for the preschool between Earlywood and Sloan Drive, just off of 31. Let me turn my pointer on. Just off of 31 here. Here's Earlywood, where the existing building has been taken down. If you've been driving around the area, you see big piles of dirt there right now. That's where the old building has been taken down. All that dirt will actually be used on the site to build it up a little bit, but will be to get it ready for the new building. We'll have entrances. The main entrance would be off of Sloan Drive, but there'll be another entrance off of Earlywood as well, because you have the developmental preschool on the north side and the Cub Academy paid preschool functions on the south side of the building. If you want to go to the next slide, there are 14 classrooms in the building, and then a large, what we call the great room, where students will eat and actually have indoor play, and there'll be another outdoor playground as well. Building's about 42,000 square feet to serve the functions for the building. And there's a few images here on the slides as you go through. Probably just keep going here. There's the new main entrance as you look from Sloan Drive looking in. As you drive in, there's a drop-off area for parents at that location, and then a bus drop-off just adjacent to this to the left in the image. You can see the new playground that will be on the east side of the building. This is completely fenced and secure to keep the children safe, and it also has what's called poured in place, so it's all soft surface for ground surface, as as well as having a little trike, what we call a trike track for tricycle racing around the playground. So a lot of good amenities for them as well. Just another view there of the playground space. And those are the elevations, trying to keep with the materials of the district. Some blues and golds are used as part of the material palette, just to match what's going on in the rest of the district. And here's a view then inside the great room. You can see the view out to the exterior playground, as well as then that space will be used for dining as well. Yeah, as you can see the overall square footage there, but we are definitely at that square footage, and we're well under the project budget based on the bids today. So any questions for me regarding the preschool? Okay, thank you very much. And
Can you give us a quick timeline of where you see things happening after today's date?
Sure. We are anticipating, I think, April 7th, 11th for a groundbreaking, even though, as you've seen, the ground's very broken there already. But we'll have a ceremonial groundbreaking on the 11th, and then they'll start construction immediately after. And the goal would be ready to move into the building in the fall of '26.
All right, thank you very much.
Summer projects for 2025.
All right, to give you a quick update and go over some of our projects for the summer. I have summer on there, but as I've grown to learn in this job, sometimes summer projects tend to go into fall projects to finish up, but we're going to do our best to get as many of those done as we can. One of the first things we're doing through a grant we're going to be receiving 6 electric buses to use in our district. One of the things this summer is we have to upgrade some of our infrastructure out of transportation and put the chargers in. We're hoping to get all that done in the summer so that when we do get the buses early fall, late summer, we'll be ready to run. So you'll see some of that occurring out at transportation this summer. The PAC athletic and ag building upgrades, not necessarily all just a summer project, but we'll be starting that this summer. We're working with Schmidt Architects as we speak to finalize design, bidding, and project timeline, and looking to begin that work this summer, probably in July after all of baseball is done, and be able to get that done, starting with those fields. And then the groundwork and everything we need to move forward on that. Playgrounds, working with CRG, Commercial Recreation Group, on upgrading the Creekside and CBIS playgrounds. We've done the Northwood ones to make those accessible for all students. Creekside and CBS are buildings that we have that also have students that have some special needs that we want to make sure those are upgraded. Right now they're mulch playgrounds. The pour in place is what we'll be adding and upgrading our equipment on those playgrounds so that they can be accessible to all of our students in our district, no matter of their ability. So we want to make sure those are going. We've been working with CRG to finish or to get a timeline going, and are working to get those done over the summer so that when kids come back for school after summer break, that those will be completed. The high school roof, everybody says it's the new high school, but just like when you have a home, we're reaching about that 20-year timeline, and we're seeing some issues with our roof and trying to really make sure we can address those as we move forward. We're working with STR on a shingle replacement and roof repair at the high school. Those shaded areas are the areas that we're going to be working on replacing. The big component of this is those education areas. So the two kind of spokes that come out of the front on the bottom on the south side are the areas we're going to really hit this summer to get those completed, hopefully before kids come back in school, so that we're not interrupting education, the educational environment. Some of those other areas where we may be able to work, where kids are not as much or not as affected by the educational environment during the day, we may do some of those moving to the fall. But this project, like I said, we're going to try and hit that educational area in the summer, but some of this may take a little more time to piece out throughout the school year. Middle school roof, same thing, approaching that age where we need to get some of it worked on. Those shaded areas again, we'll be working on getting those done. This one's a little bit different flat rubber roofs, not the shingle replacement. We should be able to get those going and taken care of over the summer. And then we're also working on boiler replacement there. We have some older boilers in this area that need to be upgraded, and they struggle to keep up a little bit, and it's time to move forward on those as well for the upkeep. We know, at least I know that there are some citizens that live over by there. When our boilers go down, there's a loud whistling sound that happens when they try to catch up, and they are going to be very appreciative when this is done, so they don't hear that. Middle school gym floor, we are going to be, it's one of the last times we'll be able to probably sand it all the way down and get it refinished, and it is needed as well, so we're going to work on that this summer. And then the pool liner, we're working on RFPs and an RFP and bids for that. That one may end up being a little late summer, early fall, depending on how long it's going to take to procure those items and get the work done, but it might be down for a little while and have to share some different spaces, maybe come over here to do some swimming practices late summer, early fall, right before we get going into the official season. We've worked with the high school athletic director on that to make sure we're all on the same page as well moving forward. Carpeting, we have some buildings that are in some need of refreshing of the carpets. We have tears and just old carpet that is needing to be replaced, and we're going to try and get we just did Northwood, Webb, and the middle school done this summer as well. We've already got the middle school set up, and we're working on Webb to get both of those done over the summer. And then some small pavement projects at Webb and Creekside. Webb is to the north side of the building, back where the bus is, the roundabout there, and you can see that shaded area where it's kind of a half circle there on the top right, and then on the bottom left is Creekside. It was updated a couple years ago when I first got here, and we have one small patch on the west side of the building to work through on that as well. And then, as Kevin just talked about a little bit, the groundbreaking and beginning the work on the Cub Academy, April 11th, 2025, with work to begin in summer of 2025 at the Earlywood site. We'll be starting that as well. And that is it. Any questions? Pretty busy summer.
Busy summer.
Yeah.
You gonna be up on the roof?
What's that?
You gonna be up on the roof?
I'm up on them a lot more than you think. It's actually a pretty cool view in the fall.
I bet.
Seeing the town.
Yeah.
I'll send you some pictures sometime. Yeah, we'll be up there quite a bit, making sure everything's done correctly.
Mr. Betts, I believe we have had bids for a few of these projects.
We do.
And I know like on the hardscape for Creekside and Webb, can you talk just a quick overview of that process?
Yeah, basically worked with STR to put out the spec sheets for that. They were advertised 2 weeks in the local papers, and we had I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, 3 or 4 submittals. The low bid went to Baumgartner. I think we had 4 submitted for that. A group called Baumgartner made sure with STR that was a group that they had worked with, were comfortable with, and they are, so we moved forward. Those also came in a little under what we believed. I think they projected 125 to 140,000, and it came in right around 100,000 with the alternates included. So feel pretty good about that, hoping to save a little money, and every place we can save a little money, we can hopefully add on a little project here or there that needs something, or part of a building that needs refreshed in an area, so that we can use those monies that are saved to help us in other areas.
And also maybe this is a quick teaching time. Mr. Young, can you just highlight again for us in the community, when do we have to accept, go out for bids? When do we just go ahead and approve under a small item? So if you can talk a little bit about that, that'd be appreciative.
Sure. There are 3 tiers. Any purchase excluding professional services. Professional services, architects, engineers, attorneys, so forth, they do not need to be bid. Any purchase under $50,000 can occur with the purchasing agent simply going on the open market and identifying a supplier and making the purchase. Between $50,000 and $150,000, the law requires that quotes be obtained. It's recommended that 3 quotes be obtained from entities known to provide the services for which the quotes are sought. Anything over $150,000, and this is estimated, by the way, School Corporation estimates the cost and that's where the number comes from. So it's not unusual to be a little over or a little under the actual cost. In any event, anything over $150,000 must comply with the formal bid process. That requires plans and specifications to be developed and approved by the school board. The plans and specs are advertised for bids 2 times, 1 week apart, in a newspaper of general circulation within the school district. Also, in most cases, you'll place those ads in other trade periodicals like the Dodge Report. You'll also try and get them to contractors or suppliers that you know can supply what you're looking for. The whole idea is getting that information out as broadly as possible to the public, so you get as many bids as you want. After the second advertisement, at least 7 days must pass before the bids are required to be submitted. The bids are then submitted, sealed, and at a date, time, and location determined by the school board, the bids are opened and read aloud. The bids can be opened by a committee or a designee of the school board, which is what normally happens. Then, as the gentleman from Schmidt just indicated to you, the bids are tabulated, a recommendation is made to the board, and if the board chooses, a bid is accepted.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Legislative update. It's round 2 of the General Assembly as they've passed over and crossed both respective houses. And just a couple just to continue to highlight. One of them that we didn't talk about last time that really will come into play, I think, for schools, there was a provision in state law that said you could not transfer into a school system for athletic reasons. That statement has been struck. You may now transfer to a school for any reason that you and your family deem appropriate. The second thing that does impact is an ISSA rule that also went into transfers, that if a kid did transfer for athletic reasons, they would lose eligibility. They could only play up to the junior varsity level for most situations if they transferred for athletic reasons. Now, they'll be able to transfer one time during their high school year and begin playing sports in that next season. So we basically have our own transfer portal at the high school level. Additionally, if a student does transfer, like they would leave us to go to another school district, they could come back to us, also no penalty. The state's just trying to comply with what's happening with the money following the students in that space. So that's one thing I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of. Additionally, the budget continues to still be the big topic. I will say that I did hear last week at another meeting, the state revenues are trending a little bit higher, so that's why you're seeing information with regarding to money coming to schools in the biennium as far as increased ADM money and foundation level, anywhere from that 2 to 4%. So we saw our first run, if it were actually if it passed and went through, we would see a little bit about of 4% for us. However, we need to note that curricular materials, so textbook rental and those things, mom and dad are no longer paying for that. We are getting that money from the state. We must set that aside as that comes through, and that's $151 per student ADM for us. And so as I talked to Ms. Gross earlier today, I had asked her in Discussables, that was roughly about $750,000, is that right? That we receive for ADM?
Yes.
That she'll have to set aside, and that will not be able to be negotiated when we talk about new money with teachers. That's also a change in what's happening. Property taxes still remain a big conversation. You probably saw an article in the paper that Governor Braun is not happy that Senate Bill 1 went through as it was presented at the General Assembly level. That's going to continue to be debated in the House side now. And for us, that's still looking over a 3-year period of over $700,000 in lost property taxes if the bill went through and became law. So those are some highlighted ones. I did mention last time, and as noted, the partisan school board elections are still a potential. That hearing was held in the House last week. I would assume the trending information is that's what's going to happen. It was up last time, it got tabled, it brought back this time, so I think you might see that as a bill that will pass. So those are the ones that I would highlight. Dr. Worland, are there any that you would want to mention?
I continue to watch some of the conversation around curriculum. There's some conversation around civics, high school social studies courses. There's also conversation around the current literacy endorsement, whether they will require it for elementary principals or whether they will reduce the required number of hours and the current exam required for our teachers in order to renew their licensure. So those are some of the key ones that I'm watching, in addition to budget.
Ms. Gross?
It'll be interesting to see how the referendum plays out. There are a couple of items related to that that will affect us when we are able to campaign and put that question on the ballot is up in the air, whether it can remain in a primary setting or if we'll be shifted and required to go to a general election. So that will definitely have an effect on when we renew our referendum. And then there's going to be some language changing, I think more geared towards trying to educate taxpayers on the impact that they'll see. So it'll be interesting to see if that gets solidified as well.
And the last thing I would highlight, I just want to note that Representative Green, who represents Franklin, is on Ways and Means. So the good news is he does think about our school district when these laws are being passed and considered. So that's a positive for us, as well as Senator Walker continues to advocate for us at that. So we have two excellent representatives and one senator. One representative, one senator thinking about Franklin schools, and that's very much appreciated.
Yes, it is. My hometown, Franklin.
Good evening. So last Friday, Fox 59 kicked off their new Your Hometown series, with Franklin being the first community that they highlighted. So they had news anchors, reporters, downtown Franklin somewhere from morning till night, just highlighting all the different facets of the community. And we felt fortunate to be able to partner with them by sending Dr. Clendenning and Katie Smith up to Indy Now. They were able to tape a segment that aired Friday at 10 and again at 4, where they really highlighted a lot of unions' accomplishments with literacy, the district's collaboration with others, and just did a really great job highlighting Franklin and what we offer students. And so Natalie is going to play just a brief segment. The whole segment can be found on our Facebook and Instagram, and we also had a 15-second commercial that aired between the Saturday prior all the way up to Friday. So it was just really cool to work with them, and I think that they showcased a lot of what Franklin schools have to offer.
All the professional development, and that partnership has
Could you put it up on the full screen effect?
all the professional development, and that partnership has led to Union Elementary scoring 100% on iRead.
Oh, wow.
And it's been a journey, but those pieces have excelled us and fine-tuned our literacy blocks to perform at that level.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
That's gonna make
Great teachers, great kids, great families. Very fortunate.
It's that team effort, I'm sure that really makes a difference. It really is a team effort. You know, really, frankly, it is really about team and cooperation and what we're doing. We have a guiding principle within our findings. Individual student growth is the most important. And you know what Katie highlights it 100%.
This sounds a little rough, so I'll make sure to send those links out to everyone so you can watch it firsthand.
Thank you. adoption process.
Yes, this is really a commercial of things to come over the next few months. I would say we have two policies, well, one policy and one set of guidelines, E100 and E100R, that guide our adoption processes K through 12 in the district. And a lot of these guidelines fall within, it's often our fourth guiding principle, but that's continuous systemic improvement. So as we go through these processes, you will start to see curricular proposals come before the board. There may be one that comes in May or maybe two. We have a requirement in the code that requires us to teach K through 12 developmentally appropriately child abuse and sexual abuse. The curriculum that we've used for years is provided to us by a company that is going out of business after decades. So we've been working with the state to find a curriculum to replace that particular product that we've been using. So once we finalize this process, that product will come before the board. We're in communication over MOUs and some of those components of the process. We will also have potentially, I'm not sure Mr. Wagner or Mr. Ahaus are here, but we're in discussion about something to use with our students who are in an alternative instructional setting or ISS during the day, or who've been struggling with vaping, for example, or conflict, or certain executive functioning skills that we may want to have some sort of curriculum, if you will, to help students rather than just sitting around. We're really trying to find some ways to work with students in a productive way while they're with us in the school building. Next year, as we roll into 25-26, our current literacy ELA curriculum, K through 12, has completed the cycle. We adopted 6 years ago. So all of those components will be evaluated next year to determine where the need is for those resources. That's a major adoption for us. So some of you may hear from parents or community members who are involved in those conversations. As you can see, families and parents are part of these conversations. As we form formal committees, we will invite people to sit in on those conversations. So this is just kind of a highlight. If you have questions or hear of anything, I'm happy to help.
Action items. Public comments regarding action items are limited to 3 minutes. Do we have anyone? We do not. At this time, we'll move to the public hearing for additional appropriation and bond resolution.
Yes, I have the first resolution for rainy day. We are requesting to be able to use $250,000 of rainy day funds to replace some equipment in the maintenance area. This will include a couple of vehicles, a couple of gators, which are often used for snow removal. Did I say a couple mowers? No. Yes, a couple mowers as well. This winter was a good reminder that we need to keep on a good replacement cycle with these types of equipment. So we feel like this is a great use of rainy day funds. The additional appropriation was publicized in the Daily Journal on February 25th as required. And if you approve this, then I will enter that additional appropriation into Gateway, where it will be approved by the Department of the DLGF. Do you have any questions on that?
I guess just for the public, how much is left in rainy day fund after 250? I know.
So over 4 million, I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Additional appropriation for purchase of equipment.
I think you'll need to make a motion and a vote on,
Okay, Madam Vice President, this is a public hearing, so at this point, the public is invited to comment on the proposed additional appropriation that has just been explained. Is there any public comment on that? Okay, with that, then the hearing can be closed, and the board can then proceed to consider the resolution approving same.
If I may read about the public hearing. If you're interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you've signed in on the sign-in sheet on the table at the entrance of the gym, which should include your name and address. After the presentation, there'll be an opportunity for the public to make comments about the appropriation of bond proceeds. At this specific hearing, we will ask that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes and that the topic be limited to the lease and appropriation of bond proceeds under consideration. The notice for this hearing was published as legally required. Pursuant to Indiana Code, before a school corporation can appropriate any dollars it directly receives as bond proceeds, it must conduct a hearing on those proceeds for the additional appropriation of those funds. We'll now hear from the Executive Director of Operations about the proposed projects related to the lease and additional appropriation.
Vice President Gill, before Mr. Betts talks about those projects, I would like to request that the board approve the additional appropriation from the rainy day funds.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. So moved.
Thank you.
With the pre-K bond that we are looking to do, we are, as we stated earlier, going to be constructing the Cub Academy. The other projects wrapped into that are athletic field upgrades, Performing Arts Center upgrades, the agriculture barn, and LED lighting where we can across the district as well. Those are the major components that we have added into that bond.
And if I may, let me add a little bit of additional information before we get into the public hearing. What's being considered tonight in this resolution is appropriating $3.8 million that the school corporation will receive in return for selling portions of its real estate to the building corporation. Under Indiana law, the amount of the bond issue that includes the pre-K facility is more than that which can be financed by the school corporation acting as a governmental entity. And that's because there's a 2% debt limitation in the Constitution. Governmental entities cannot go into debt more than 2% of the assessed value within their taxing districts. $40 million is more than the 2%. In order to proceed, it is necessary that a separate legal entity be formed, and that has happened. That's the Franklin Community Intermediate School Building Corporation. It is that entity that will issue the bonds. It is that entity that will be the nominal owner and constructor of the facilities. However, in order for the building corporation to construct the school buildings, they must own the real estate upon which the buildings are being constructed. The pre-K facility, the entire site, has been appraised, as has a portion of the Webb School been appraised by appraisers appointed by the court. The appraised value of both parcels combined has been confirmed at $3.8 million. In order for the building corporation to acquire title to that real estate, they must purchase it from the school corporation at the appraised value. So when the building corporation, and then at that point, once they own the real estate, they build the buildings, they lease the buildings back to the school corporation, and the school corporation pays the building corporation lease rental in an amount equal to what it takes the building corporation each year to pay the debt service on the bonds that they issued. A really simple process that our legislature has given us. So, what is going to happen in April when the building corporation sells their bonds? The building corporation will pay to the school corporation $3.8 million. That's new money coming in, money that was not in the budget. And in return, the school corporation is going to deed the property to the building corporation. Well, in order to spend that $3.8 million, it has to be appropriated. That's what's before you this evening, is the additional appropriation of that $3.8 million when it's received. Also, the resolution is a combined resolution, because not only does the resolution authorize or approve the additional appropriation, it also provides that the money that comes in, the $3.8 million, will be utilized to pay for the project. So basically, the money is essentially going back to the building corporation to help them pay the cost of constructing the pre-K and doing the other things for which the bonds were issued. So your resolution first approves the additional appropriation. Secondly, authorizes the creation of a construction account on the books of the school corporation to hold that money, and authorizes it to be spent only for the purpose of constructing and equipping the 3K facility, pre-K facility. So that's a longer explanation than I would have wanted to give, but that's kind of the hand that the legislature has dealt us in terms of how we finance these projects. So with that information, are there any comments or questions from the public? This is a public hearing. All right, hearing none, Madam Vice President, I would suggest you show the public hearing closed and ask the board to take action on the additional appropriation resolution, which also contains the authority to create the construction account and to spend the funds on the construction of the pre-K facility.
Is there any discussion? Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the additional appropriation resolution? It's been moved and seconded to adopt the additional appropriation resolution. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It has been moved and passed. Tina,
Yes. You have the next one?
I think we're kind of out.
I think we kind of went out of order. Did you get everything you needed for the
Yes.
appropriation for the $250,000 for rainy day?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Hardscape at Creekside and Webb.
Mr. Betts.
Again, this goes along with what we talked about earlier during the summer projects with Creekside and Webb. The bid sheets, I believe, are up there. And we had the bid opening, I believe it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. And this is where we came to Baumgartner, and they are the ones who were awarded this project for over the summer. And I believe that tabulation had them just over over $100,000 to do those two projects for the pavement and striping, that back area of Webb, and then that west side of Creekside starting this summer. Thank you.
Motion to approve the hardscape improvements at Creekside and
been moved and seconded to approve the hardscape improvements at Creekside and Webb. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. So moved. Pre-K bid recommendation.
We just heard from Mr. Shelley a few minutes ago regarding the bid process, and the attachment indicates that Ferguson Construction was the low bid. They've gone through the appropriate requirements with Schmidt, and at this time, we would like to recommend that Ferguson Construction be appointed as the construction company for the Franklin Preschool Cub Academy.
I'll make a motion to approve Ferguson Construction as a low bidder for the pre-K Franklin Cub Academy in an amount not to exceed $18,672,200.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the pre-K bid recommendation. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. So moved.
Mr. Shelley, one quick question. On the top of the bid sheet, we'll see red and white tabs. Are red required and white optional? Is that correct? I apologize. Okay, so just for everyone's information, we did select those four, the base bid, alternate 1, 3, and 6. And that was the total.
So 18 million.
The 18,672, correct? Okay, very good. Thank you very much. All right, so we're partnering with Ferguson. That'll be an exciting time for us.
Moving on to a letter of agreement for the Ag Education Center.
This is what I highlighted just a few minutes ago with regard to engaging with Schmidt. As you know, we're looking at adding to the athletic facilities as well as the Ag and PAC Performing Arts Center facilities, and this is just our letter of agreement for them to continue to design and get us ready for that construction phase. Their total amount is, you can see it in there, the budget is anticipated to be $2.25 million for the new education center. We did see highlights of that facility on Friday, and we'll continue to modify it, and we're looking for groundbreaking, you can see, to begin in July as we move forward with this project.
Any questions?
Are we approving the total, the 2.25,
No.
or just the fee?
Just the fee for
Just the
Schmidt,
fee.
yes. 178,000, and then additional 15,000 budgeted for reimbursable expenses.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the proposal for professional architectural and engineering services for a new agriculture education center at FCHS.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Agricultural Education Center agreement, letter of agreement. Those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. It's been moved and seconded and passed. FCS school calendar, 26-27.
Yes, 26-27. There have been no changes since the last meeting, so it is presented as presented last month.
Motion to approve the 26-27 FCS school calendar.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's been moved and seconded to approve the 26-27 district school calendar. Bullpen tournaments rental agreement.
Thank you. Mr. Doty could not be here tonight, but this bullpen tournament agreement is the same as we saw last month, where we'll travel to Kokomo and play in a single game doubleheader format on April 18th and 19th. We're asking for your approval at this time.
Motion to approve the bullpen tournaments rental agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the bullpen tournament rental agreement. All those in favor? Aye. So moved.
Vice President Gill, one highlight also in sports. Mr. Doty, if you were here, would tell you that Bloomington North has been recommended to add to Wilmington North will be taking their place starting in the 26-27 school year.
Cub Academy summer camp fees.
Mrs. Smith, any changes to this as presented last month?
Make a motion to approve the 2025 Cub Academy summer camp fees.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the Cub Academy summer camp fees. Those in favor signify with aye. Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Policies, guidelines, and forms for discussion.
Prior to Mr. Sappenfield's departure, we were able to go through and do the pre-reading of all these policies from Churchill and Antrim. And today I'm bringing them to you for his first reading. This is the one that now from now on, Mr. Yount will sit on this committee when we have policy reviews. So all of these were very simple language, not many changes at all. Most of our policies reflected from laws or legal requirements that we have to have. But today they're here before you for your first reading. And then next month they'll come back for second and we'll add them into our bill of policies. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have for any of the policies and then bring them back next month.
Thank you. Public comments on discussion items? None. Board comments? Any other administrative comments?
Yes, I would like to give a big shout out and thank you to Needham Elementary. On Saturday, they celebrated 100 years of learning from Needham Township. It was a great walk through history. So I want to thank Mr. Perlee. I know he had a committee behind and beside him as they put together. And the exciting part about this, the kids are actually taking this project from museum phase to integration into interviewing and writing a paper. It's the early part of a third grade curricular piece in the high ability curriculum, but all the third graders participated in this conversation. So we're excited about that. So if anybody went to Needham Elementary and you want to be interviewed for this project, please contact Mr. Perlee. I want to give a shout out here to also Vice President Gill. She did have her son, and she went to Needham Elementary as well.
Yes, I'm a Bulldog.
We had at least 4 generations of different families of travel that were in Needham. So it was a really great experience. I know Dr. Worley and I were there. We got to see Principal Cragen, who was there, Dr. Halleck, who was a superintendent at one time in our district. He was there. So it was a great celebration. So Dylan, I want to say thank you to you and your team for putting this on.
Calendar of events.
We have Cub Academy registration coming up on March the 11th. How many spots do we have available? We have 39 spots. So hurry up, get in line, and at 5 o'clock. The doors will close at 5:10, probably. But we do have 39, and this will be the last year, hopefully, of that as we move into our new facility the next year. On March the 18th, we have kindergarten registration at each elementary school. And I want to just remind everyone, you're more than welcome to attend. I know Debbie has said she's got to go to Creekside and be with Mark for a little bit. So Dave,
I'm going to
you're going to go to Webb, Jen's at Northwood, and Mr. Jones is going to Needham. So I want to thank you. And then Mrs. Nelson, who's not here, will be at Union with Mrs. Smith. So I want to thank you for that, but that is on March 18th from 4 to 7 o'clock. And I want to remind all families that online registration is available right now. So please register for your next school year, and that is every student coming to our school in the 25-26 school year. On the 19th, we are at My FCS Academy, hosted by Northwood Elementary and Principal Hoagland. We're going to highlight the special education and high ability programs in our district, as well as just engaging conversation with some high school things, because unfortunately we were able to miss the high school and preschool, and Mrs. Limbach will be there doing preschool. Thank you. On the 21st, at 7:30 in the morning, we'll have a light breakfast with the middle school staff, and then we'll see the highlights of Franklin Community Middle School with Principal Holman. And then on the 28th through April the 4th, we begin our spring break. Those are the highlights for our calendar.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.